Eyes on the front of the rim. Deep breath. 2 dribbles, follow through. Same routine every time I was on the free throw line. There were just a few seconds left in this particular college game. And if I make it, we go up 4 and it's game over. Swish. I've played basketball since as long as I can remember. I had posters of Diana Taurasi all over my bedroom walls as a child. And yes, I've totally walked the halls of school with a basketball under my arm. I've even walked through multiple airports with 2 balls, one under both arms. No matter what I had going on in my life, I always had basketball. And basketball wasn't just for me. It was a family affair. My older brother, older sister, and younger brother all played. Even my dad played in my hometown of Sioux City. My childhood was full of competitive games of horse and one-on-one. I have the most horse wins, unless my older brother was standing next to me, in which he would beg to differ. But just to clarify, I have the most horse wins. My parents would come to my games and scream and yell and cheer me on. They were such wonderful fans and always encouraged me to continue working hard. I did work hard. I didn't swish that free throw to win the end of that game because of luck. I had shot thousands and thousands of free throws. In college, eventually becoming number 1 in the country at 95%. I became the best in my family. So when my older brother went to Harvard and my older sister went to Penn, both succeeding after their Ivy League educations, and my younger brother went to USC and became a mechanical engineer, I wasn't upset or jealous because I had basketball. I was the only one in my family to receive a full ride scholarship, and when I walked onto the court wearing a UNI jersey to play Division I basketball, I have to tell you, I was proud, and so was my family. However, athletics is a fickle endeavor, and my body did begin to shut down. I played in college for 6 years because I had 2 season-ending injuries, but still, I kept coming back to the line. I was Conference Player of the Year before my injury, and because of more hard work and dedication, I was Player of the Year after my injury as well. So after my playing career in college ended, I went on to play professionally in Israel, and I got to travel the world. It was awesome. Seriously, I'm not sure that a 20-something could ask for more. But I wasn't necessarily happy. Everything that I used to love about basketball had become just tiresome. My perfectionist nature and drive to always be at my best got me to where I was, but it also wore at me mentally. Every moment of every day was about basketball. Every decision I made was about how it would impact practice that day or how it would impact the game that week. And I always felt like I could work harder. So I did. But that lifestyle became extremely exhausting. Cracks had started to form in my basketball armor. But still, I kept going, fighting off those cracks and adding in my own layers of grout. So when my playing career ended, I took a job at Drake University on the women's basketball team. And that same year, I was promoted to an assistant coach. To be a Division I assistant basketball coach at age 26 is rare. It basically represented all of goals achieved. I was on the fast track to becoming a successful coach, and I was rising the division's ranks. So why did I feel so sad? I remember the day that everything really snapped for me. When you're a college coach at that level, it's not a 9-to-5 job, and in season, it's a 24-hour calling. You eat, sleep, and breathe basketball. So as I sat in my office in the postseason after my first year of coaching, I began thinking about the several times I missed things, family occasions and celebrations, and how basketball seemed to be taking away from me more than it now gave me. I was still trying to forget about that time I missed my brother's wedding because I was playing basketball. I realized I can't do this. I just don't want to be in basketball anymore. I was unhappy. And on top of realizing that, I realized I wanted to enjoy the many things that life has to offer. My family is spread out all over the country, but we're super close in our relationships. So when we get all together, it's special. I want to be there. I want to be a part of those memories. But without basketball, who was I? That's all I had known my entire life. And to be honest, that's all my family, extended family, that's all anyone had known of me too. Think about the emphasis we as a culture put on your thing. In high school, you are divided into groups that in one word tell people something about you. Jock, theater kid, mathlete. For me, that had been basketball. Jacqui was the basketball girl. And that made my parents proud. I had never seen pride drip from their mouths the way it did when they would tell people, Jacqui is a professional basketball player, or Jacqui is a basketball coach at Drake University. And my parents are well known in my hometown, so it wasn't uncommon for people to ask about their kids, but especially about the basketball star. So would I be disappointing them if I told them the truth? How unhappy I had become? That on some level, it came down to staying in basketball or staying alive? My parents have never been anything but supportive. But I knew they would be disappointed. And just knowing that made everything worse. There was a voice ringing in my head. Leave this job, leave this life, and who are you? But I was receiving help at the time, and another voice became louder. You don't have to do this. So I quit my job, and I began working at a coffee shop. The phrase wasted potential got thrown around a lot. And even when it didn't, I knew that's what people were thinking. I got stuck in this odd place of being happier in my new job, but being so caught up in who I used to be and what I was supposed to be doing. It got really dark there. While I experienced relief in stepping away from basketball, I also experienced a deep sadness. I was depressed, and I would cry a lot. With basketball not out of my life, I felt like I had lost everything that made me who I was. But here's the ugly truth about athletics. I decided I liked basketball when I was 6. And that happens to a lot of athletes who choose sports and play them for their entire childhood. We then idolize people who do things for a long period of time. 20-year veteran, 30-year career. And that's great. But in doing that, we close out the other side of that equation. The side that says maybe what you love at 6 won't be what you love at 26. And that's okay. It's okay to change your mind, and it's okay to grow up and realize that you find happiness in other places too. It was that realization that helped turn my life around. I stopped saying that I had lost everything and started to say that I had gained an opportunity to find anything. Think of life as a coloring book. When it's finished, everything is in Technicolor and it's beautiful, but it's done. There's no going back. But before you put crayon to paper, that coloring book is just a bunch of outlines waiting to be filled in. You get to choose the colors, the shading, where to begin, whether to use glitter. I'm definitely not the glitter type. But you get to choose everything. So in the moment that I realized my life wasn't a fully finished coloring book, but one that still had plenty of pages left to fill, my life became my own. Coffee shops weren't my final stop, though it's a great final stop for many people. But it was an important stop. And now I got to choose how I wanted to move forward. You can't live your life for others. You can't live for their expectations, whether real or imagined. You can only live for yourself, and you only have one life to live. So why waste it being unhappy? I made a promise to myself right then that I would never miss another family wedding, and that I would never let a job get in the way of me being with my family, who I know love and support me whether I am in uniform or not. Now here's the thing. I absolutely do not have everything figured out. I'm still struggling. And those voices that were in my head that told me I basically gave up everything that was worth anything, sometimes they're still there. But what's great about this is that I've also learned it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to not have everything figured out. I have wonderful people in my life who continue to remind me of that, and that it's okay to take risks because security and comfort are overrated anyway. Life is a journey, and mine may have started on a free throw line, but it's not even halftime yet, and there's no telling how the game will end. Thank you.